What is the weight of history?
Yeah.
What's the weight of the grand scheme?
So
when you're sitting alone,
yeah,
listening to a Beethoven sonata and applying, how does that function?
So I grew up in Arizona, and I actually grew up playing music. So there's a lot of conversation, I think, around rhythm and time and the form of composition and how that relates to space. That is actually really, there's something to be noted there for sure. But I was trained in music, blah blah blah, playing music for years, and from age 6 to 18.
You played an instrument?
Yeah, many. I played violin, piano, trumpet, trombone.
Really?
Yeah. When I left home at 18, I traveled around for a while, and I decided that being formally trained wasn't going to work for me. It wasn't something that made sense for the way that I was thinking about art, which came from music actually, and it was something that I found, or that I felt was should be learned through practice. So I moved to New York to be an artist, and I knew that if I showed up in New York, had conversations, basta, I could figure it out.
Wow.
And so as I was talking to people, having these conversations with other artists, I would gather data and gather new, you know, you should read this, you should check this out, you should see that show, whatever. And so I think the plan when I started this in New York was to build as solid a foundation as possible, to have an information-rich starting point, so that the decisions that I made would come from an aware place, would come from a very informed and historically steeped narrative.
It's when I read a text 30 years ago about when you talk about a swing, for instance, a golf swing. You say he's got a beautiful swing.
Yeah.
Actually, what you want to say then is that this ball's going from point A to point B.
Yeah.
In a perfect way.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful because it is efficient.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. Actually, there would nothing be beautiful in efficiency, but we say that because it's like it's a concept.
It's beautiful because it is. I think that's maybe. I'm just trying to see things as they are. I'm trying to look as neutral as possible at life, and have a lens that is always facing outward and not facing inward. It's receiving all the time, and so in the studio, it's just about what needs to happen. What's the one thing that I can do right now? Because I can only do one thing at a time. I'm going to use one tool, have one conversation. I'm going to make one image with one color. It's one thing.
And it feels very comfortable.
I'm not against anything. I'm just looking. I'm sitting at a field and I'm just looking around. I'm admiring what's happening around me, and I'm trying to say, isn't it amazing that you know that it is here and you have this cultural and societal or social implication for that place, and when you enter that room, you kind of have a sense of how you'll move through it, and there's a choreography there. I mean, you've learned through your existence, through your culture, through your family, whatever, through reading or watching films, how to move through your environments. And that is the sense, there's poetry in that. And I don't have to do anything. I'm just pointing at things that are already there. It's not modernist, it's not postmodernist, it's something else. And it's not against anything, it's actually just for it. It's for everything, it's positive. I'm trying to find as many things that are inherent to a situation and create as refined of a container as possible to acknowledge as many constituents as I can, if that makes sense.
I think you feel very comfortable. You know exactly what you want to do.
I love the blank canvas.
You love the blank canvas. You want to. You enjoy it.
I think
there is a joy in this.
Definitely. Oh, 100%.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, celebration.
Celebration.
Definitely. They are celebrating life, for sure. I think that the blank canvas, the empty field is still there. I think it's just, what's the one thing that I have to do and still maintain that wholeness of a blank canvas?
Exactly.
I just want to do one thing. I just want to make it, I just want to let you know that it happened, that something transformed here, something transcended here, but it still is, the nothingness of the blank canvas is still there. The unique quality of emptiness and nothingness is still here. And
you feel it, and you feel it.
And that's what's happening in the painting, that's what's happening in the installations. It's just, what do I have to do? How can I fill this room with doing the smallest thing? How can we activate the entire experience, not just the image inside of this little window, not just the way these three things touch this wall?
It's the idea of economy, as you said, and also the idea of poetry.
Definitely.
And it's the reason why you left these two walls blank.
Yeah.
And it functions.
Yeah.
In the most amazing way.
This wall's still blank. They're all still blank. It's just, what's the thing I have to do to turn it all on? Mm-hmm. Everything is working now, but it's like sound. You hear a sound, and it comes and it goes back into nothing. There's always nothing. It's just this thing arises and then it subsides. It comes and then it disappears. But you only know silence because of that sound. And that sound only exists because of that silence. Those two things, those polarities, they're interconnected. They have a mutual relationship. They're in love with one another. And that's what this is. The silence and the articulation. And I think, again, that dynamic of something existing in light of its opposite, they are mutually beneficial. They require one another to exist. Mm-hmm. And I think that this line, this precision, is what creates the harmony and the balance of the chaos, the entropy that happens in that window.
Exactly.
If you have one or the other, they don't exist anymore. You need that balance that they create together. It's the same way that we were talking about something and nothing, or silence and sound. Everything that has a polarity exists together. You need a thing to create space.
Matter and antimatter, maybe the spaces between the organic forms
100%.
are even important.
Of course, look at the form here in the negative space.
Negative space.
Yeah, 100%.
These paintings are beautiful.
Thank you.
Landon, they are amazingly beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm blessed to have you here in Knokke. And I'm blessed to have this conversation.
Likewise.
I love it to the core.